Following the slight disaster with my last piece, the trumpet shaped bowl, I had a terrific response and a lot of suggestions and comments of how to save it. I mean, it is going to be saved as such, but I'll explain to you why I'm not going to elaborate measures, i.e. gluing more wood on top to make a bowl again. The kopie would then be at the bottom and that would detract from the wood. So I've decided to do something quite simple to sort of save it and make a simple tea light holder from what remains, because apart from the pieces that flew off, the cracking actually went a bit deeper, and so in the end of the day, I think if I make a tea light candle holder from it, it will serve as a reminder every time I light it, in sort of memory of the bowl that wasn't, and that's the way I'm going to look at it and do it. So I'll take it over to the lathe and give you a quick explanation of what I intend to do, and then we'll see how it goes. And thanks again for all the suggestions and the possible solutions to avoiding another catch. We all like to think that we take the adequate precautions, but there are times when concentration goes, or you just think I'll try this and do that, and you're not really concentrating and the inevitable happens. But it is a learning experience. Under no circumstances, after this sort of an annoyance, if you like, do you think, oh, I'm going to give it up, because that's what the learning is all about. And that's why I like to share my mistakes as well as some of my sort of, as you can see, it's had to be taken back quite a bit, and I've sanded all this back now, and this is what I'm left with. Now my idea is to make it into a tea light holder, and this serves two purposes. Number one, I think my main error was the fact that I left too small a spigot there to be able to hold it securely. The catch didn't help, I agree, but I think that was the main problem, so that's something I've had to consider. So to enable me to chuck this up and to take very light cuts, I'll have to do, obviously, is I've put the smallest jaws into my O'Donnell jaws, made a snug fitting dovetail tenon and put it into the jaws to enable me to shape this, and I will use a Forstner bit to make the hole for the tea light. And when I've done that, then I intend to just round this over to the rim of the hole, and that's my idea. But we'll see how it goes as usual and see what develops, and hopefully we can save it. And then what I will be able to do is make a jam chuck, jam the hole I've made for the tea light holder onto the jam chuck, and then be able to finish off the base with a concave profile. So without further explanation, we'll get started, and hopefully this one won't fly off the lathe. Right, so I've put the Jacob's chuck into my tailstock, I've got my Forstner bit, and I am now at a slow rate going to bore out the hole to the correct depth, and won't show you the whole process because that's quite boring. The hole has been drilled and the glass insert fits in nicely, and now it just remains to finish off the outside, and I'm not too sure how I'm going to end up, what design I'll end up with. We'll just have to see how it goes. Now, as I said, very light strokes, because the gripping point is not the most stable that I would like. So again, we're going to be taking light strokes, and I think on this I'm going to be using a detail gouge or a spindle gouge, and we'll just see what develops. I think what I'm going to try and do is to match the curvature on this side and then round off into the hole and call it a day, I think. As you can see, we've got a bit of a wobble on here. The whole thing has become a little bit uncentral, so I don't want to mess it up. Right, so I'm going to give that a sand up now, and we'll see what it looks like. I'll come back in a minute. Okay, so what I've done, I've sanded down the outside and the inside to 600, and the little trick that I use, not a trick as such, but it makes it look a little bit better on the inside, is where the point of the Forstner bit leaves a little hole. I just used a small round nose scraper just to make that into a concave conical shape, which is much more pleasing when prying eyes actually take out the candle to see how the inside is finished. I just think it's a little touch that makes it look a bit more professional, if you like. So I'll show you that obviously when it comes off the chuck. So now I'm going to coat with sanding sealer mix, as I always do, and that's a mix. I still get questions, which is great, regarding the mix. It's just a cellulose sanding sealer and a cellulose thinners, and I use it to a mix of 3 parts sanding sealer to 1 parts cellulose thinners, and just using, I don't normally use a cloth, but to get any residual dust off, I like to give it a quick wipe over before we put the sanding sealer on. And I found actually, if you turn the lathe right down to its lowest speed, well on this one, on this pulley range it's 150, that's nice and slow to be able to apply any finishes or sealers, because you turn it round by hand anyway, and being a lazy person, this saves that effort, and it's slow enough to prevent it from flying everywhere. That's done. Now I'll let that dry and then cut it back with 0000 wire wool and apply another coat, and then 2 coats of my wood wax 22, and that'll be the outside and the whole part. So I'm just putting the final coat on now, and I've put 2 coats on. Because the original piece had 2 coats on already, I'm putting a 3rd coat on to blend it all in, just keeping 2 coats on the inside. So this should blend it all in nicely and give an even finish. Okay, so that's quite a nice finish. Well, it's not quite a nice finish at all, it's a very nice finish. The wood does take a lovely finish, and yeah, I'm quite happy with that. So what I'll do now is take it out of the jaws and I'll make a jam chuck, and we'll sort just a little note for the beginners again. When you're doing a jam chuck, if you just do a little shoulder to begin with, and possibly even get it a little bit too small, and then you've got a guide for the next one, which is the one you actually use. So I've got quite a bit of depth here. While I'm here, I can just show you what I meant about the inside. I don't know if you can if the camera catches it there. Look, that little conical shape. Just used a small round nose scraper to get rid of the hole created by the end of the Forstner bit, and that gives a nice appearance to the inside, as I say, for those people that like to take things out and scrutinise it. It's mainly other wood turners, strangely enough. So then that will fit on here, and it's a nice solid fit, and make sure that it's right up to the shoulder. As I say, it's a little bit unconcentric, let's put it that way. Anyway, but what I intend to do now is to just very lightly remove that dovetail and have a concave profile to the foot, and that'll be finished. So I'll turn that down now and we'll get that job. I'm just using a spindle guide. Happy with that. So now all that remains is to sand that up and coat it, and the job is completed. So I'll come back when it's finished. Well, there's the piece finished, and the bottom done as well, and I think it came out quite well, all things considered. And the little glass insert goes in, and then the candle. And I'll put some photographs up at the end. And thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Cheers now.